You might remember Twilight for iconic scenes like this.
How long have you been 17?
A while.
You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
And we all watched Twilight as kids. I was about 11 in 2008, and so were you. We were all 11 in 2008. I know this review of the Twilight series is coming out about a decade and a half after Twilight had controlled the minds of tweens across the country and started a hot vampire and or werewolf crave in my era. But I had watched the Twilight films as a preteen as they were coming out in theaters. I wasn't particularly crazy about it. I didn't really get it, but I wanted to be included and my friends wanted to go, so I ended up going too. Until about a month ago, I was just like living as I am doing, and I got really sick over a weekend, so I was kind of couch ridden, and I saw that Twilight was trending on Hulu, so I said, fuck it, why not? And it kind of ended up going like this in my household. You wanna watch Twilight with me? Oh no, this stuff is dumb, nah. Dude, this scene, this is from a dream Stephenie Meyer had, and she based the entire movie off of it. Did you know that? Oh shit, really? Can you believe 50 Shades of Grey was based on this? It was wild to me when I remembered that 50 Shades of Grey is based on the Twilight series, but when I rewatched it, it made a lot of sense.
I like watching you sleep.
So these reviews are coming from a rewatch. I hadn't seen any of these films since they came out, so rewatching them fresh as an adult brought a whole new perspective that really went over my head as a kid.
I know Twilight is a lot of people's comfort movies. It's okay. I'm not trying to come after your favorite movie. I feel like I have to remind you that I liked these movies. It was really fun watching them as an adult, even if most of the movies were goofy. You are allowed to like them. I'm allowed to goof on them and still have a good time watching them. Side note, I'm not reviewing the books here, as you can imagine. I'm just focusing on the movies.
Twilight 1, the 2008 release.
Cold, wet thing, I don't really...
Overall, this movie is the classic one, but the whole movie is so eerie. And despite the overly blue color grading, the movie is unintentionally a fucking comedy.
Hello?
Bella Swan moves from Arizona to Forks, Washington with her dad who's a cop, Charlie, and her mom is dating some minor league baseball player in Jacksonville, Florida. It never matters in the movie. No one cares about minor league Robbie. So overall, it feels like Edward absolutely hates Bella. Dude does not take her eyes off of her. I know I'm not the first to say this, but Edward and Bella have no chemistry whatsoever. The only reason Edward likes her is because he can't read her mind. Oh yeah, so like every vampire has like a My Hero Academia quirk, and Edward's is that he can read minds. In addition to being a glittery immortal vampire. The whole movie I was kind of thinking how Bella must not have a lot going on up there. And upon watching the whole saga again, I really still think that Bella might be so head empty, no thoughts, that there's nothing for Edward to read. All they do is argue the whole movie, and throughout the whole series, you'll see that Bella has no decision-making skills. She's consistently making the worst decisions, no matter what it is. She's kind of the definition of thinking with the wrong head, and so many of the scenes go on for an uncomfortable amount of time, too. Why is he laying like that? So we go through this whole movie with Edward saving Bella from the van that almost crushes her, and then they spend the whole movie bickering about how he's so fast and strong. And then she finally does some awesome internet Googling. Oh, well imagine, and finally confronts Edward about it.
Say it.
Do it.
Say it.
Vampire.
Say it. And then they literally go frolicking in some fields and stuff, and he introduces her to his family, and they bond over the one thing they have in common.
You have so much music. What are you listening to?
Debussy.
And then Bella immediately ruins the moment by not dancing.
I can't dance.
But don't worry, because this is way more fun.
You better hold on tight, spider monkey.
So in Twilight, Kristen Stewart's acting is just not as bad as we made fun of them for. However, the face acting definitely gets worse in other movies. It's amazing how both Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson are actually both good actors and have proven themselves to be since Twilight. It just comes to show what happens when you're given source material like this.
What's in Jacksonville?
How did you know about that?
You didn't answer my question.
Oh, you don't answer any of mine, so... I mean, you don't even say hi to me.
Hi.
But also for some reason in Twilight, every male character suddenly becomes Johnny Bravo horny for Bella. This kid, Edward, Jacob, and not even just these high school kids. But they do other scenes in this movie that shouldn't be sexual and kind of make you uncomfortable anyway. Like after Bella gets stitches in the second movie and Dr. Carlisle is stitching her up, she's grabbing onto him and we get like a close-up shot of that in a weird way. Or this other scene in Twilight, when a vampire, James, is about to kill Bella, but gets all up in her face like they're about to passionately make out. I, as an adult, and even as a child, it didn't cross my mind how horny everyone was for Bella, because I was still trying to figure out my multiplication tables. So I decided to call in a Twilight expert to fully understand this phenomenon. Can you explain how long you have loved this movie series?
I went to Catholic school up until 7th grade. And right when I got to 7th grade, when I experienced freedom, dude, it was Twilight everything.
So this has been over a decade in the works.
Yeah.
Okay, so I firstly didn't understand why did preteens eat this shit up? Because the movies themselves are like pretty mature, like within the color grading, the themes, the language, the unclear plot.
To start, we have to take a look back at history.
Okay, opening the history books.
So Twilight, the book, is published in 2005. And like I said, 2008 was when the movie came out. And that's when Breaking Dawn, the final book in the series, was released. And this is the era of flip phones, of MySpace, of Scene Kids, of Heelys. And you might know that one.
Heelys!
This is nearing the end of the only other book to movie franchise of that time period, which is Harry Potter. The Deathly Hallows book released in the middle of that in 2007. And in that same year, the 5th movie came out, The Order of the Phoenix. So this is like a crazy time in adolescence, our adolescence, but then also like a huge shift in Hollywood where they're like now realizing the influence they can have over a younger audience.
I never made any of these connections to the time period.
Like, this is a young adult series. And these types of books and films flourished in this time frame, especially like when the main characters were dealing with like fantasy or otherworldly themes, because like escapism is a really powerful tool. But these books and movies were like the perfect getaway for everybody in that time period. Like that was kind of the only cool thing that existed during that time.
Yeah, because preteens and millennials went to go see these movies alike. Like, the hype was for everyone.
Everyone was Team Edward, Team Jacob.
And what were you?
I started as Team Jacob. I literally had a poster of him with his long hair in my room, and he would just stare at me every day when I came home after school. So embarrassing. But I thought he was so cute. I'm Team Charlie.
I'm Team Charlie, too. Okay, great. Thanks, bye.
Oh, wait.
Charlie, Bella's dad, is the only sane character we'll see.
Bella, it's Friday night. Go out.
If someone made an edit that was just the entire Twilight Saga from Charlie's point of view, it would be so funny. And he's hot. He is hot.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for letting me take your daughter out, Mr. Swan. I'll take care of her. Promise. Okay. We are going to play baseball. The Cullens are so fucking weird and pasty. Bella, I noticed you have a lot of friends that like you, but you don't hang out with them, and you only want to hang out with the one weird kid in school. Why don't you go out and do something with the normal people? Dad, you really want to talk about boys?
I literally didn't say that. Why are you doing that? Stop.
Bella, how'd you almost get hit by a car? Dad, it's fine. Looks like you'll be just fine. Am I the only normal one here? Why does no one care? Why does no one care? So, we need to talk about the age gap. She is 17 in this movie, and Edward is like 109 years old. This is on par with creepy animes getting away with a 200-year-old demon dating a 15-year-old high school girl. So now we're at the iconic baseball scene.
My monkey man.
This one was really crazy because I just closed my eyes to fall asleep, and then there was 5 entire minutes of loud, weird guitar music playing in the overly blue, saturated scene. It is so much louder than the rest of the movie. After some more really awesome wire flying work from the crew, we have the Black Eyed Peas storming onto the field. Give a round of applause for the Black Eyed Peas, everyone. Dude, I'm so mad. I am not the first one to make this joke. I knew I wasn't, but I completely forgot about the 2010 Vampires Suck Twilight parody that made that exact same joke. Nothing is original. I am not original.
You know who we are, don't you? You're the Black Eyed Peas!
Come on, not again.
And they want to kill Bella. And I never understood why they randomly marched onto the field here. And upon my adult viewing of this movie, I still have no idea. I guess it's just because they heard people playing baseball. And then James sniffs Bella's rank stench and wants a piece of that pie.
You brought a snack.
So then they start acting like the weird kids in the cafeteria at lunch.
I think it best if you leave.
And of course it's Twilight, so I can't not mention Jacob, as where the popular shirtless and jorts outfit is born, from the werewolf tribe uniform. He really doesn't play a huge part in this movie, which was a funny misremembering. He was, what the fuck was he doing in this movie? I don't remember. What was Jacob doing this entire movie?
So Jacob wasn't doing anything, I'll be quite honest. So according to the Bible, Stephenie Meyer says that she only put Jacob in the first book as a plot device, literally only to tell Bella about the cold ones, and that's it. And then she sent that draft off to her editor, and her editor loved his character so much that before writing the sequels, she put him in as a bigger part. And that's it. So he literally wasn't doing anything in the first movie.
He was used and abused by Stephenie and Bella. So at the end, one of the Black Eyed Peas dies, and Edward and Bella go to prom together.
You're perfect.
And Bella wants to become a vampire, and Edward's like, no. And then it ends. That's it. The end. It's a new day, new moon. Oh yeah, so Twilight was okay, but New Moon really amps it up. It amps up Bella's facial expressions. It amps up the shirtlessness. It amps up the cuck.
Hello, biceps.
Well, I'm just filling out, Bella.
So the Cullens don't kill people because Dr. Carlisle, Edward's dad, made the whole family become vegetarians, meaning they only eat animal blood rather than human blood, which leads to Jasper, the newest vegetarian in the family. Be normal, 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 be normal.
Pleasure to meet you.
Nailed it.
It's okay, Jasper. You won't hurt her.
being one of the funniest characters in the movie. And I'm kind of upset he took a backseat after the next one. Anyway, Bella has the absolute worst 18th birthday party ever, and Jasper's just sitting there like... which is definitely a cop-out, so now they can make Bella do more sexual things, because it's legal now. Listen, I'm not here to judge love, but the 91-year age difference is something. It's something.
I'm 109.
Wow. Maybe I shouldn't be dating such an old man. It's gross. I should be thoroughly repulsed.
This movie's the one where Bella's sitting in front of the window for like 5 months because Edward dumped her and left because it wasn't safe to be with him since people are hunting her down, and it's just so funny. I get that heartbreak feels like this when you're 15, so the scene serves as more of a metaphorical mental state rather than a literal experience, but it's just so goofy, come on. Especially like dumping her and leaving her unattended and unprotected is somehow going to protect her from the black-eyed peas trying to hunt her down, as if they know everyone's relationship status. Like, do vampires just update their Facebook status in 2008 on Facebook so the other vampires get the message? So this next bit is supposed to be like a skit, but I had like 1 margarita and I just filmed a skit and I have no idea what I was going for. I have no clue. So please enjoy what I think, what I think I was going for with this skit. I don't know. It's complicated. Well, we can't hunt her down now, guys. They're literally not together anymore. Good one. James died for nothing, I guess. Where is the love, the love, the love? And that's how their hit single came to be. Charlie is once again the only rational human being in this movie.
It's just not normal, this behavior. Quite frankly, it's scaring the hell out of me. And your mother.
And checks on Bella every so often, especially because this is also the movie where Bella is screeching at the top of her lungs nonstop from nightmares because Edward dumped her. I legitimately don't understand how Bella has friends. She's so weird, but people keep wanting to hang out with her who don't match her vibe at all. Oh my god, it looks like I'm wearing a bump it. I'm just gonna leave it like this. So since Edward is gone, Bella takes the chance to stop playing it safe and not get hurt because of Edward's overprotecting nature, which, by the way, is an overarching theme throughout the entire series that is so irritating to watch because it never develops. Bella is obviously, to me, feeling a little controlled in a way by Edward, so much that she feels the need to break out and do what she wants to do. But she's just still glued to him for no reason. That, or she's just trying to beg for his attention back by doing dangerous things to bait him. So yeah, she breaks off, and while Edward is gone, she decides to finally get to know her neighbor, Jacob. She hangs out with Jacob a lot the whole movie to repair this motorcycle, and they actually have chemistry. They joke around together, and I think one of the only times that Bella smiles in the whole series is when she's talking to Jacob. And there's this really weird scene where Bella goes on a date simultaneously with this kid from school and Jacob to the movies at the same time, and it's so weird. I swear the directors just had a kink for this type of cuck shit and nobody noticed until now. So she rides motorcycles and does dangerous things and sees the most hilarious visions of Edward as she's doing them.
Lie. Lie better. Threaten him. Keep walking. Turn around. Stop.
Telling her to stop doing dangerous things. Bella, don't.
Whoa.
Don't do it. Have you flossed today? You fucking stink. Take a shower. Why would you do that? Would you still love me if I was a worm? I think she was trying to take advantage of Edward's sister Alice's quirk to see the future by doing dangerous things so that she'll see them and then come back and whatever, I don't know. Jacob starts acting weird. He goes off and acts weird for a while before he comes back from puberty camp where he learned about being a werewolf and shit. And Bella has no idea what's going on. I mean, there's vampires. What are there? Werewolves too? In some sort of multi-century fantasy character rivalry? Yes. Yeah. Basically, Bella finds out that Jacob's a werewolf and got a sexy haircut. Gotta give him more sex appeal for the preteens. Come on, Stephenie. I remember when New Moon came out, it was like Team Jacob, Team Edward frenzy on Facebook. This haircut started a new era of Jacob never putting on a shirt ever again in the series.
He finished with more than 3 seconds to spare, and that's how you become an American Ninja Warrior.
So now that Jacob's a werewolf, he learned about the rivalry, and he knows that the Cullens are vampires. And then he says this.
You've been lying to everyone. Charlie?
Who is everyone, Jacob? Charlie? She's lying to everyone by just not shouting from the rooftops that she knows a family of vampires in Forks, Washington. But oh yeah, remember the Black Eyed Peas from the last movie that they kind of forgot about? Don't worry, they're back in this movie, about to be forgotten again. This band of vampires aren't even like a real threat in this movie. Like sure, it's a main plot point, but they're kind of just awful, forgettable, and non-threatening villains.
You are so mouth-watering.
We all know the real main focus of this movie is to get you to pick whether you're on Team Edward or Team Jacob. By this point, I'll be honest with you, I was pretty much rooting for Team Jacob because, like, Edward is manipulative.
Hey, did you do this to my truck?
Bella, you have to understand. Your safety is everything to me.
Boring, has no personality, and he and Bella have literally nothing in common, and she has smiled not once around him. So I'm like Team Jacob all the way. Until Jacob literally sexually assaults Bella in the third movie. And progressively got more manipulative and desperate as the movies went on, and I was just so done with these men's bullshit. I am telling you. I'm Team Charlie. Anyway, one more member of the Black Eyed Peas dies since the wolves are protecting Bella now. So now there's just Fergie, whose husband was slain by Edward after he tried to nom 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 make Bella a tasty snack.
You brought a snack.
And she literally doesn't matter in this movie. Who cares? But okay. I'm rushing through this because we're not even at the good part yet. So at one point, Jacob is over and they almost kiss, but the phone rings. Classic. He answers their landline, and it's Edward in Rio for some reason. One of the most random things in this series is the Cullens' connection to Rio de Janeiro. Jacob tells Edward that Bella's dad is arranging a funeral and that he's busy and can't talk right now. So Edward thinks it's implied that that means that Bella must have died or killed herself, which means he's gonna kill himself, because that is the rational thing that he would do. Because Edward can't live without her, because she has no thoughts. So back to the Brazil thing. I can't tell you exactly why Brazil being part of the lore is so funny and random to me, because they go back in a future movie to Rio, and it's just like in the middle of Twilight, New Moon, about the palest, unhappiest people in America, and it cuts away to Christ the Redeemer and samba music. It's such a stark contrast and audibly made me laugh, because I saw this when I was 12, but watching it again as an adult is so much better because now that you've seen good movies, you can go back to watching Twilight and really just appreciate it and enjoy all the goofiness. Apparently in the book, it's explained that Edward follows a false lead from Victoria being in Rio de Janeiro, I guess. So he follows them there, and that's why he's in Rio when he calls Jacob, or he is trying to call Bella, but Jacob answers. You get it, when he calls. I don't know why they would go to Rio. They purposefully came to Forks, Washington, and saw that Bella lived there, so I don't know why they'd leave. They needed a little break, a little vacation, a little football in Ipanema. There's a beautiful theory that someone on Reddit wrote about Rio in New Moon, and it's beautifully written, and it's kind of like how Rio has the statue of Jesus embracing the light no matter who you are, and that's kind of the symbolism of it. And it's warm and it's life, and it's kind of like Edward trying to embrace the light, while in New Moon, Bella is also embracing a world without dark, because the idea of like yin and yang, one can't exist without the other, light cannot exist without dark, and vice versa. But both of them feel out of place without each other as like yin and yang. But honestly, I don't think, even if this was the intention, it doesn't come across that way in the movies at all. I don't know if it does in the books, but there's a reason that it felt really random to me, even if there is symbolism that I didn't quite pick up on. Anyway, f it, we're doing a world tour here. Edward goes to Italy to show his shiny skin at the local vampire-hating festival, so the vampire government can kill him, because that's illegal in vampire law. So this was the festival of San Marcos, and I just had to look into this. And a surprise to us all in the real world, it is actually, surprisingly, not a day where the city celebrates running vampires out of the city.
They're commemorating the expulsion of vampires from the city. It's the perfect setting.
It's actually the day where they celebrate the liberation of Nazi fascism in Italy. So vampires are cooler, let's make it up. Alice has a That's So Raven vision about Edward wanting to unalive himself in Italy, so Alice takes Bella to Italy so Edward can see that she's alive and blah blah blah. Bella? I give up. I don't give a shit about the vampire government here. I forgot Dakota Fanning was the vampire queen. And they're just kind of there to be like, hey, you can't date a human, that's weird. We have to kill her now because she knows too much. And then everyone's like, no, you can't. I promise she's gonna get turned into a vampire. I saw it in a vision. And they're like, okay, fine. And that's it. Eclipse. The Cuckening. I call this one Eclipse the Cuckening because that's exactly what this movie is. Forget about Veronica or whoever is trying to hunt down Bella, because this movie is hot. Oh yeah, ooh-hoo-wee, whoo, ooh, yeehaw, yeehaw.
Oh my god, Dad? I'm a virgin.
Okay.
So Victoria, or Fergie as we have been calling her, is now trying to create an army of newborn, bloodthirsty vampires to take down Bella, since she is outnumbered by the Cullens. That's the main antagonizing plot point in this one. So the whole movie, the Cullen squad and the werewolf tribe are reluctantly working together to train and form an alliance, all to protect one girl. It's nuts. I feel like Bella really kinda likes that everyone's fighting over her.
I'm tired of this. From now on, I'm Switzerland, okay?
Is Bella supposed to be a plain Jane character so the audience can put themselves in her fantasy? Maybe. I don't care. Because Jasper. In his past, he's had to fight off newborn vampires. So he's the one kind of running the show and training everyone. And I loved learning about his backstory because he's from the Civil War era, from the South. With zero Southern accent.
Pleasure to meet you.
Until this movie, he like sort of faked one.
Battle scars. Aren't enough of us to protect the town.
My apologies, man.
And it's awesome. Thank you, ma'am. It's a pleasure to meet you. Yeah. Oh, hey, Bella. How's it going? How have you been? Where did that accent come from? What are you talking about? Bella, I would bet some rootin' tootin' pecan pie on the windowsill on a Sunday when my grandmother came home that I always had this accent. You said you fought for the Confederates? But other than that, this movie really amps up the romance. Yeah, you thought it couldn't get any more steamy, did you? So Bella and Jacob obviously have a lot of chemistry, and Jacob is growing ever more frustrated that Bella wants to become a vampire and be with Edward, to the point where he literally sexually assaults her, and she punches him in the face. This is when I was like, oh my god, I'm not Team Jacob or Team Edward, I am Team Charlie. If I was not his daughter and not 18, obviously. You get what I'm saying. He's hot. Then Edward gives Jacob a nice lesson on consent.
If you ever touch her against her will again,
Don't do this
she's
here.
not
Don't-
sure what she wants.
Don't do this
Let me
here.
give you a clue. Wait for her to say the word.
And I know this was a meme at the time, but Jacob is literally shirtless the entire movie. And I remembered it being somewhat of an exaggeration, but like, no dude. They knew what 12-year-old girls wanted, and they delivered. And then Bella is basically begging Edward to f her the entire movie, and he finally ends up being like, no. It's too dangerous.
No,
You said that you wanted me to have every human experience.
not ones that will risk killing you.
You won't.
It's too dangerous.
What does that mean? This is alluded in this movie and future movies, that like it's too dangerous for them to have sex. Like, does he have a monster truck car? Is it spiky? Does it have like a rough texture? Like the glittery skin texture make his feel like sandpaper? He later says, oh no, it's just like we should get married first.
Believe me, I want to. I just want to be married to you first.
Fine. So, like, they get engaged at this point. One of Edward's things is that he's an old school guy. So, he wants to get married before doing the dirty. But then why do we need to know how dangerous it is for them to have sex? I know why. That was rhetorical. But I'm just saying. And then as they're preparing for the big battle, they use Bella as bait for, of course, the mean vampires. And then they move her to a safer location, which happens to be atop the snowiest, coldest mountain. And she is turning into a popsicle. But Edward is cold because he's a vampire. But don't worry, Jacob is also there.
I am hotter than you.
And he's 108 degrees, baby.
108 degrees over here.
Because he's a werewolf. So he cuddles Bella to keep her warm. And Edward and Jacob bond a little bit in the weirdest scene so far. So then, sneaky Edward, who gives a shit about the fight. The fight is happening at this point, but who cares? Edward purposefully lets Jacob overhear him and Bella talking about their engagement. And Jacob gets all upset and is like, I'm gonna go join the battle then, and maybe die. Because if you don't love me, then I might as well die, so I won't be a distraction for you.
Maybe I'll get myself killed and make it simple for you.
No!
Toxic, 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 toxic! Both of them! So Bella's all like, no, Jacob, kiss me! And then they spend a while passionately making out on top of a mountain, basically in front of Edward, as she's engaged to Edward. Oh, Bella. Kiss me. Kiss me, Jacob. And when Bella's finally done making out with Jacob, she goes back to Edward, and he isn't even remotely mad or upset.
I don't know what happened.
I love him.
I love you more.
I know.
I'm telling you, I thought this while watching the earlier and later movies. I think at some point, Edward started to enjoy being cucked. Which is fine, to each their own, but I hadn't seen anyone talk about this when the movies were coming out. Then again, I was also 12, and the only thing that we really cared about was declaring on our Facebook walls if we were hashtag Team Edward or hashtag Team Jacob, where the only qualifications were who you thought were hotter. Ah, to be a 12-year-old girl again. I mean, the cover art for the movies were literally just the three of them, not just Bella and Edward. Literally, all three of them. All three of the throuple. So it's very clear that the main focus was not on the main villains. So the Cullen and Wolf army win the battle, of course, but Victoria and the newborn army leader guy find Bella's real location in the mountains, and we get a sick vampire fight scene. And now there are no more remaining members of the Black Eyed Peas, which concludes why they haven't had any major hits since 2012. Jacob got injured from the fight, but he'll be fine. Anyway, they end in this nice meadow again, and Alice is planning their wedding and Bella's planning to become a vampire. The end. This series is so wacky and I'm so happy to be revisiting it again. The next Twilight video I'll be covering the last two movies, Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2, and holy shit, I didn't think it could get any crazier, so I just have to make those their own separate video, especially so this one wouldn't be like 2 hours long. Overall, these films are really iconic and unique for their time and really defined an era and generation, and I'm so glad that we exist in the same timeline as the Twilight Saga, because there's truly nothing like it.